Hello, welcome back to Wolf vs. Ponies, to another Behind the Pony segment. This time we're doing everyone's favorite apple horse, Applejack.
And I'm back too. The cat came back, and this time I'm going to be talking about Applejack's flaws, but for now let's start with the positives.
So, of course, she is the element of honesty, meaning that she has to be honest. But at other times, she comes off as the loyalist of ponies. She even says it herself.
Yeah, way to mix up those elements. Applejack's more loyal, while Dash is more brutally honest. But, it's just a small thing we'll gloss over and force Applejack to be honest all the time. Even though she lies more than any other pony. In fact, she has a liar face too to complement how much she lies.
However, being dependable, she has proven that to herself, like in the first episode, where she sort of saves Twilight's life in a way by letting her friends catch her.
Way to honestly tell her you'll be safe. She just asked her to let go. I mean, would you trust a face like hers when she drops you and smiles?
Another thing about Applejack is she is the most hard-working pony of all of them. And it shows in Applebuck season, where she is just going to finish her job as soon as possible, no matter what it takes. That takes a lot of courage and a lot of bravery to do something like that.
But then it also starts a lot of conflict. For starters, she takes over too much work than she can handle and actually leaves to the conflict of an episode. For starters, the Applebuck season episode, where she first tried to take an entire orchard alone, caused a lot of disruption in town and nearly poisoned half of ponies and put Pinky in the hospital. Yes, sometimes overworking yourself can destroy what you're trying to create good.
Another part of Applejack is that she is very caring for her own family. I mean, she will do everything to protect the apple orchard, no matter what it takes. Even in over a barrel, she's willing to help out Brayburn keep the orchard from the buffalo. But even though she doesn't really know all about the conflict, she later creates the conflict again.
Yeah, pioneers against Indians. How much worse can you get than that? Speaking of which, I think that the worst part about Applejack of all is how stereotypical she is. I mean, this is how America is going to be represented on My Little Pony, with Applejack, who's racist, stereotypical, and incredibly stupid. I've seen Michael Rooker and Norman Reedus act less racist when they were rednecks. But this, every time she speaks, she says a countryism, if you will. That's very stereotypical. It's going to be how other countries view Americans. And I actually read YouTube commenters saying that real Southerners actually feel offended by Applejack.
Yes, it's a sad sight indeed. But as earlier, she does care for her family, even if it means protecting Apple Bloom from a chimera. She will charge head first into battle to protect her. Plus that, in the first season, the reason why she wanted to go to the gala was that she could make money for her family and get rid of that Granny Smith saggy old hip and a facelift.
Protect her from a chimera? You mean Discord?
No, that's what Draconic was. The chimera, the mythical beast that is part snake, part goat, and part tiger, that is for some reason in a swamp that has fire geysers.
Couldn't Apple Bloom outsmarted it by herself? I mean, all she had to do was hide in the bushes because this thing is stupid because it split its mind into 3 heads.
True, but it also shows how another part of Applejack's intellect and her strength.
Also, wasn't it Applejack's fault that Apple Bloom was put in danger? She wanted to prove to her sister that she was fine alone. Applejack ruined that when she was at home safe, trying to be responsible, and then she wants to prove her responsibility by traveling through dangerous lands because Applejack didn't think she could handle it.
She was just trying to care for Apple Bloom and protect her, like a good sister would do.
When has Applejack ever been obsessive over something? That's more like Twilight. And this, she's just trying to monitor Apple Bloom all the time because she thinks she's incapable. Applejack's always been the coolest big sister from previous episodes, so this is kind of out of character.
Another thing about her is Applejack is probably another one of the strongest ponies. Not sure how she would do against Rainbow Dash, but I mean, she can stop a cart full of ponies that is traveling down a slope before it falls off a cliff with her 2 hind legs.
Rainbow Dash saved a bunch of old people from falling off a balcony. That's more heroic.
True, but also we don't know who's more daring between the two. I mean, sure, they'll both go into a dark castle at night, 'cause that's the smartest thing to do.
Dash won by default.
I still think Applejack won because she didn't really find Rainbow Dash until the end. Plus, Rainbow Dash flew out of bounds.
Out of bounds. She only hit the roof. But I guess I see your point. Applejack does have a lot of good points to her, but the problem with most fans is that she's too normal and boring. All the others have, like, funny personalities, even if sometimes it can be annoying like Rarity or Pinky. Applejack has no distinct personality other than working and eating apples. In fact, Shirtcloth Ponies actually makes fun of her apple obsession and gave her a better personality by making her a war veteran. But this... she just seems a bit normal, and that's the main problem, is that half her episodes are uninteresting, and you have to admit she's put in more episodes than Twilight or Rainbow Dash, who are the mascots of this series.
I will agree with you on that part. She does have a lot of episodes to herself, and they're all about her and her family and what she wants to do for them. I mean, heck, even in the newest season, or season 5, whichever season we were in, she was the first one to see, she was the second one to see the rainbows, and she was doing it to protect Granny Smith from killing herself.
What? Granny Smith was gonna kill herself?
Well, there was no way she could fit in that tiny pool.
Oh, she could do it. She's a badass grandma. She could do anything with that tonic.
Yeah, but that tonic turned out to just be apple cider, pretty much. It was fake, like placebo.
But it was Applejack approved, so Applejack lied?
So, if it's approved, it doesn't mean that they're for it. I mean, heck, the fleece was Lorax approved, but he was against it.
Yeah, but once again, the conflict could have been avoided if Applejack actually stopped making it worse. All she had to do was tell the truth, and she should be able to do that easily because she's the element of honesty. But instead, the episode goes on because she lies. And she actually taught some pony that honesty isn't the best policy.
Yes, but then he turned around after seeing her honesty.
At the last minute when Granny Smith almost died.
True, it was late to the bell, but aside from that, another point to her is that she is a good friend. I mean, she is willing to not only protect her other friends, but she's willing to give away a lot of her possessions for something to give to Rarity.
Yeah, but they make Applejack like Twilight's de facto second in command, when we all know that Rainbow Dash was supposed to be the second in command character, considering that she gets the most character development, and a lot of fans love her more, but Applejack, who gets more focus despite a lot of it being the same kind of lesson over and over again, is pretty much supposed to be Twilight's second in command, despite not keeping a good eye out on the other main 6 members. In fact, she gets into fights with Dash and Rarity all the time.
True that, but also going to your point about how she's the second in command, she was doing a lot to protect the fake Crystal Heart from being seen by the Crystal Ponies.
Oh, and Dash didn't do a good job?
Scaring a pony off to get him away from it. Yeah, that's clearly something you want to do.
It worked, didn't it?
Hardly. I mean, Applejack was better in it because she was sort of lying to them or getting them to go somewhere else.
What about when Rarity pointed out how she could have bought more time if they said it was being polished someplace else before being on its way?
Well, who would buy that? I mean, would you really want to do that for a ceremony when you see a demonic figure looming outside your capital?
Oh, I see your point. Wolf has some honesty in him too.
Another thing about Applejack is that she is supposedly this good baker. I mean, all the apple products that she sells for 2 bits are all made by her pretty much, except for Zap Apple Juice. She makes all the cider, all the pies, all the apple fritters, everything.
What about the baked bads that nearly poisoned all of Ponyville?
Hey, she was sleep deprived.
Uh-huh. And like Pinky couldn't write that down for her and tell her.
No, because Pinkie Pie can just say it to her.
But what about the Zap Apples, then?
Well, I mean, she and Big Mac were trying to harvest them throughout it, which is why she couldn't spend all that time with Apple Bloom.
Yeah, I couldn't help her when she needed a family member who wouldn't embarrass her at bring a family to school day.
Yeah, but she knew how good Granny Smith was. That's why she likes her as her grandmother.
Yes, Granny Smith is literally so old she was there when Ponyville was founded. It was actually pretty interesting, though, but Applejack still played a part in the episode. None of the main six even made a cameo appearance. Why does Applejack get the most appearances even though she's not doing many things?
Who knows to that? I mean, heck, she didn't even have a solution to help Rainbow Dash learn. The only thing she did know was a lot about apples. Again, proving how weak her character actually is.
What about the worst episode that had Applejack, where she fought with Fluttershy over the fruit bats? She wanted to kill them all. Yes, getting rid of them actually means killing them in farm talk. She wanted to kill the bats, and she convinced all her friends, and they even sang a song about hazing Fluttershy and killing the bats.
Yes, but she was doing it to protect her livestock, all of the apples and her family and their business.
But then it turns out that she was wrong in the end. Fluttershy was right, and they do end up building a sanctuary for them. After Fluttershy became cursed to be a fruit bat forever now, thanks to Applejack's stubbornness. Yes, it's Applejack's fault that Fluttershy's now Flutterbat. Or part Flutterbat. I don't know if they're going to continue it or not, but it was her fault.
True, she has caused a lot of problems, but also she has done a lot to her own farm, probably building about 10 barns in the course of 5 seasons.
Because she keeps destroying them for the insurance money. Read the fan fiction, people. But what about her relationship with Apple Bloom? She thinks Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon are her friends. That's worse than Granny Smith thinking they're her friends, because Applejack's not senile. She has no excuse for not knowing anything about her little sister.
Alright, I'll give you that one. But then also, for some reason, Applejack has 2 ships with her. She has her gang ship with Rarity, and then Rainbow Dash, of course.
The Rarity one's too cliched. I mean, a country person loving a city person. One of them is so mannered, and one of them is unmannered, and they keep fighting like an old married couple. That's a bit cliched. And as for Rainbow Dash, she's just kind of loving herself, because they're both competition freaks, and the fact that they're both voiced by Ashley Ball does kind of make it seem strange. But I don't know about those ships. I do like that they kind of imply that Applejack might be gay, or possibly asexual, since she doesn't seem to care for romance at all, yet she gets the most ship moments with a lot of female ponies rather than men. Because did you notice when Trenderhoof was coming on to her, she didn't give a care at all? In fact, she actually thought it was silly he had feelings for her, and then she spends the moment trying to convince Rarity to be herself. So, she's either homosexual or just really close to her friends and not interested in romance with anyone at all. What do you make of that, Wolf?
I actually don't know what to make of that. I'm not sure if she is bisexual, non-sexual, or homosexual. I guess we'll see that never again, or it will just be implied. Plus, we still have to wait about that episode where we get to see her ma and pa finally.
Yeah, hopefully Michael Rooker will voice her father. However, one of the negatives is like that the fan interpretation might be either good or bad, because they want to handle the episode delicately. We're going to see Applejack's parents for the first time soon, but they don't want their deaths to shock kids, but they don't want to dumb it down for the adult viewers either. Very delicate, very hard, and hopefully Michael Rooker will stay true to his word and voice Applejack's father when the episode comes. But for now, that's a long ways away. But anyways, Applejack is kind of a weird character. We don't like her, but then we don't hate her a lot. Japan loves Applejack for her honor, her dedication to her work, and of course, for her heroism and selflessness and care for her family.
But America dislikes her because she's a racist stereotype of us.
I know. Have you heard some of the lines she says? I mean, some of them sound straight up racist. What's up with that? As I said before, we don't want Americans being represented by Applejack. I mean, is this how Canada sees us? Or is this all just supposed to be played for laughs and have Applejack kind of be a parody of how Americans used to be? But you gotta admit, another one of her worst episodes where she was racist to Zecora. Remember that, Wolf?
Oh yes, bridal gossip.
Because she's a zebra. Yes, she's different and obviously an African stereotype, so it's two stereotypes fighting, but Applejack came up worse because she was starting the racism about Zecora and assuming the worst of her and asking her to speak English.
Yes, but in an episode she's also trying to protect Applebloom, which is why she assaulted Zecora's ear.
Maybe if Applejack kept a better eye on Applebloom, she wouldn't have ran away out the back door when she wasn't looking.
Well, I guess that's it for Applejack. Whether or not she's the best or the worst pony, or just the most normal pony of all, I guess we'll really never know.
Make of what you want with Applejack, but she is a part of the main six and an important part to the show. These are just our opinions of her.
As always, I'll see you guys another time. Bye-bye.
I'm Commander Shepard, and Applejack is the best pony in all of Equestria.